Hello, everyone. My name is Amber Duggar, founder of Profit for Keeps, and we're talking all about Facebook ads, events, live events, what the heck are materials, and how do we use it in Profit First. I'm really excited to dive into this because we've had a lot of questions lately about this, and I think it's really important to go into how you can make sure to set up your business for success with Profit First and the materials. So first of all, let's just define what the heck materials are. If you've read Profit First, then you will hear this mentioned, and it's really talked about mostly in the retail space or in a brick and mortar business, for example, a retail wine shop. Purchasing the wine at cost would be your materials. And you want to remove that from total revenue before putting your money through Profit First. So what does that mean? Well, let's say that you make $10,000 a month in your wine store. Well, if you used all that money in your wine store for paying yourself and your taxes and your team, then next month, unless you repurchase wine, you don't have anything to sell, and then you have to close your business, right? So what you want to be thinking about is, in order to be able to replenish the inventory each month, it's all about putting aside money first to replenish the inventory, and then whatever's left over is what's called true revenue. So true revenue is defined as money that you can actually use to put aside money for profit, owner's pay, taxes, and business expenses. So now that we have an idea of what materials are, how does that equate to an online business? Because we aren't typically selling anything physical. Well, there still are materials in an online business. The very first thing that I can think of is Facebook ads for lead generation. So if you are paying for Facebook ads and you are using that as a consistent lead source that then convert to sales, that is something eventually you want to consider as a materials expense. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're running an online course, and that online course is bringing in, say, $100,000 a month in revenue. Well, the way that business is typically scaled to that amount is due to lead generation due to Facebook ads. So let's say that they put in $30,000 a month into Facebook ads, and that generates the amount of leads that then bring in $130,000 in revenue. Well, if you pay $30,000 a month for Facebook ads to bring in those amount of leads, theoretically, if you put $60,000 a month in Facebook ads, you would theoretically then have twice the amount of revenue. You'd have 260. So as you can see, when the amount is directly tied to your revenue, it needs to be considered a materials expense because it would change. The percentages would change if you are increasing the amount of money coming in. So the way that you handle this is you first look at, okay, well, if I know that I need to pay $30,000 in Facebook ads next month, my $130,000 that comes in, I'm going to subtract $30,000 first and have it available for next month's Facebook ads. The $100,000 can then go through and be separated into profit, owner's pay, taxes, and business expenses. So another thing for online business that would be considered materials is if you're selling a program. Let's say you're selling a 6-month mastermind, and included in that 6-month mastermind is a live event. If that live event is going to happen sometime during the mastermind, it may end up costing you money to get the venue, to get food, to get swag, to get anything else that maybe you need to have some sort of a personal assistant helping you with the live event. Those things require you to build that into your package price. So let's say that you list all of the expenses out for your live event, and you see that the live event is going to cost around $2,000 per person. Just throwing that number out there. So if you have a program cost of $12,000 and $2,000 of that needs to go towards the live event, what you would have is $12,000 would be your total revenue, $2,000 would be your materials for the live event, and the $10,000 would be true revenue. Because again, true revenue is total revenue minus materials equals true revenue. True revenue is what really we're looking to aim for because that's the number that we put through our Profit First calculator. So when we're looking at this from a live event standpoint, let's say you sell 10 tickets to your mastermind, 10 spots in your mastermind. And if it's $12,000 per person, that's $120,000. Well, instead of taking all of that money and using it for your business, you're first going to subtract the $20,000 from the live event that you will put aside for the live event, and then the rest of the money you will be able to then drip out over the next 6 months in your business. So that's a second example for materials. So far we've covered Facebook ads, we've covered live event. A third option, let's see here, would be something where you are, if you're selling anything that includes services for your clients. So for example, if you're a naturopath and you know that you want to have certain panels run on your clients, those could be considered materials. If you have supplements that you're purchasing on behalf of your client at a discounted rate and passing it on and giving it to your client, those would be considered materials. Anything that is going to be considered a per person cost that you will incur by taking that person on as a client, that would be considered materials. So how does this work with Profit First? Well, we've really kind of touched on that a bit. Basically, when you're looking at calculating your revenue goal, which I hope you've done if you've been following me for a while, is to take the true revenue, that's your revenue goal. So for example, if you have used the revenue goal and you see that your revenue goal is $20,000, well, if you're using Facebook ads to regularly get leads, if you are having live events, those types of things, then you want to make sure that you've built that into your program costs so that by the time you've removed those live events or Facebook ads cost, the net difference, that true revenue, is exceeding or equal to the goal that you've set for yourself. So for example, if you have a $20,000 revenue goal and you have, let's say, you do have some material costs for your live event. Well, in this example here, where we had the $12,000 program and we have 10. Well, that's $120,000, but let's now divide that. And so per month, let's see, $120,000. One second. Over 6 months, it's going to be $20,000 per month that we would be dripping out. Well, if that $20,000, we also need to subtract out the live event cost, right? So if we have 120, what we really have after taking the live event costs out is 100. Dividing that by 6, that's $16,666. That amount there, if our goal is 20,000, then we know we still need to sell a couple more spots, right? Because once we've removed the live event cost, we have not yet reached our revenue goal. So it's a really important concept to understand, to be able to remove the materials first before comparing that to your revenue goal. Now, if you happen to be in Profit for Keeps, we do have a materials calculator available to you. So if you're watching this and think, well, I'd like to know what that would look like, we do have a materials calculator for you. You can reach out to our team and get that for you. The other thing is, how do I make sure that I'm planning them properly? Well, think through any individualized costs of your program before pricing it out and before offering it out, because you want to have a plan to make sure you can cover the things that you're promising and still be profitable and sustainable. If you are having further questions about this or have been intrigued to learn more, I highly recommend that you join our community of like-minded individuals. It's called Sweet Life Purposeful Money. And you can go to that by going to amberduggar.com/community. We hold regular profitability workshops in there, H-Money challenges. It's a really beautiful group of people that are looking to really become empowered with financial information, looking for a simple yet effective way to really manage cash flow for both personal and business. And we would love to have you. Until next time, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. So much love to you. Amber Duggar. Talk soon. Bye.